All right, I think we are live. Welcome
So,
everybody to episode 6, the AdvisorTech book live podcast with Taylor of Kerdora. Welcome, Taylor.
hey Joe, nice to finally meet. Not typing at each other on LinkedIn.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Yeah,
I was meeting with someone yesterday, and they were like, "We've zoomed before," and I was like, "I have no recollection of zooming with you
yeah, it's
before."
hard. It's hard. Yeah,
It's so hard to keep up with
yeah,
this stuff. Um,
definitely.
anyway, we're here to talk about your tech solution and how you're helping advisors. But
Hmm.
to get started, I like to ask about a book you're reading
Hmm.
and a new technology you're playing with, and it could be a robot
Sure.
lawnmower, it could be anything.
Yeah, I wish I had that. I've always got way too many books around me. The most recent one, which is kind of weird, it's this Brianna Wiest, I think.
Mm,
Do you follow college football at all?
I don't.
Okay, Lane Kiffin, really kind of controversial guy right now. He's been posting these really interesting like screenshot or like pictures from a devotional. And it ended up being this book called The Pivot Year by this
Okay,
woman, Brianna Wiest. And it's incredible. And then there's this book on like self sabotage, which I'm pretty good at self sabotage. I was like, okay, let me check it out. And it is fantastic. So um, that's what I'm reading right now, amongst other things.
that's
So,
cool. I want
but
to check both those out. I have a book problem
yeah,
though. Did you know that fewer and fewer people are buying books, but the people that do buy books are like buying books at like record rates right now?
it's a problem. It's so easy to order now because you can just look it
Yeah,
up and order. I mean, I could pan the camera down and you could see the stack on the floor.
yeah.
It's not good. So I've also come a long ways on like used to feel the need to finish every book I started,
Hmm.
and I think I'm finally over that. That's you don't have to do that. So that's been freeing, but
Right.
also contributed to ordering a few more than I used to.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah.
I'm getting super into Substacks right now, but the reality is like I can't. There's no way I could read all the Substacks I want to read. Like it's just
I
impossible.
still like the physical book. I have a Kindle, but it's just not the same. I like the
Right.
physical book, and I don't know. Someday I'll get over it, maybe.
For sure. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, what tech are you trying out?
It's it's not a new one, but I'm finally diving into Notion,
Oh,
and that platform is insane.
yeah.
Like, have you used it
I
much?
used it a
Or
while ago. I mean, I know it has a lot of like AI features and email features and
it's like you can run an entire company on there if you wanted to.
right.
And yeah, it's amazing. And finally, like understanding like that whole like life in one place thing. It's incredible. Really kind of confusing to learn how it like got to figure out how it thinks and how it lays out. It's just a blank canvas that you can do anything with. So if you don't know what
Yeah.
you're doing, you can't do anything. But figuring it out, and yeah, they do have some AI stuff that will, you can be like, build me this, and it does. So it's been nice. So that's been the new thing. It's been interesting, kind of straddling the advisor and the tech side. You realize our tech as advisors is lagging in a lot on areas. There's some
No
really,
kidding.
yeah, I know,
This
yeah,
is news
yeah,
to me.
I know. Especially on the CRM side. And I know who your favorite there. They're doing some good things there, but it is kind of mind blowing when you like you can use something like a Figma for like $20 a month can do or a Notion for $20 a month can do
Right.
an insane amount, and then we're over here like we can sync a contact with something and it's $100 a month. I don't know. So
No, there's tools like I'll drop a name. I mean, like Apollo.io for like
mm,
$60 a month. You'll pay 10x that to get the same exact features for financial advisors.
yeah.
It's just absurd. Um, but or even a CRM seat, like for a broad CRM, maybe even like a Notion versus a CRM
Hmm.
specifically for financial advisors. I think the pricing difference is just um, the market's a lot smaller, so
Well,
they have
yeah,
to
and it's all,
upcharge.
and I do think it ties to value too. In theory, right? That like the value, like what, like it's like a lot of people are using these like non-advisor tools that may not be doing anything really worthwhile. Versus an
Right?
advisor, in theory, they're generating revenue. At least that's how I justify it to myself. Like, but
Yeah,
there's definitely a premium that we pay.
yeah, cool. All right, well, let's get a little bit into your background. I know you've
Mm.
started tech companies before. You've been a financial advisor for a while. You've written a book or two, maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah, one and a half actually. So
One and a
we'll see if
half.
the
There we
second,
go.
we'll see if it becomes two. So yeah, I was born and raised to be a financial advisor. My dad started in the industry the year before I was born. I think he started his own firm when I was like 4. So it's really all I've ever known is the small independent RIA space. Just I've told people my dream was to be a professional golfer. You can see some golf in the background, and then retire and be an advisor. One of those happened. One didn't, and so there's some pros and cons to always wanting to do this, but it's all I've ever wanted to do. Got into it full time 9 years ago, and yeah, it's been an interesting journey. It started Dad's firm is I started working with him initially, traditional AUM and insurance, and that was really interesting to learn that side of the business. And then basically, as I was like 32 at the time, saying, my friends aren't needing they don't have a bunch of money to manage and aren't necessarily needing some of these products that are great. What if people just paid me for advice? And I started a fee only, primarily flat fee RAA about 3 years ago.
Okay.
And that was on the advisor side. I can talk about how I got drug into tech if I guess that's relevant here, but
No, it's interesting. A lot of advisors start out at their dad's firm and then end
yeah.
up leaving, or there being some big frustration. I mean, I know like succession plans never work, and even when it's not your dad, but like I'm interested, like the rift between a father son.
It yes, it is very common, and I talk to a lot of dads about this. I've met I don't know how many parents who've started working with children. It's a great dream, and it can absolutely work. I'm for better or worse can be, I guess, difficult. I'm a little stubborn and
You're a
impatient
rebel.
on some things. Well, I know the way I described it with my dad and I, it's like this is going to sound like a little self-congratulatory, but like it's another football reference. But like Pete Carroll and Nick Saban are two great coaches, but you don't need them coaching the same team. There's
Sure.
multiple right ways to do things. He's got his way. He's great. I was getting in his way, and he probably was getting my way a little bit for what I was trying to do. And so it was amicable, it was mutual. I mean, it was a little messy at first, but yeah, it just came down to like go be you, I'll go be me. We're still friends. I'm still an IAR at his firm. If he does disappear, then I can step in and handle things. But yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. And I probably had a little like when you start out when you're the son, you're my dad's name is Owen. I was Owen's son. Owen's son. This is Owen's
Sure.
son. And like people just kind of like, oh, I get it. You're just taking the cushy job, all this stuff, which may or may not be true. And I don't know. I just spoke up too much, I guess. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it was a good experience. So
No, I mean the reality is entrepreneurs are not. They don't necessarily make good employees.
that's very true. I've learned that the hard way as well,
But
for better
I
or
think
worse.
it's. I mean, like Alan Moore of XYPN talks about
Mm,
how he wasn't a great employee and then ended up starting his own thing. But I think like
mm,
once you hear the same story like hundreds of times
yeah,
from hundreds of entrepreneurs and successful people, even like the drop out of college thing, like you know
mm,
half
yeah,
of the top 10 billionaires all dropped out of Harvard or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that was an exaggeration, but yeah. Well, keep going with the story
Well,
where
so
you're at.
that's how I got into the advice side, and then the software thing. When I say I got drug into it, it really was. I mean, my background was in finance and accounting. Worked as an auditor, so like I would say, like I didn't think I was very good, but probably pretty decent at Excel. And when I started in the industry, we used this with my dad. We used this very simple retirement income planning tool, and it was a really valuable lesson because the output was incredibly simple, like not flashy, not fancy at all, but clients loved it. And so that has like stuck with me. Like simple actually works. You don't need a whole bunch of stuff, but the experience of using it was a nightmare. And so it started with an Excel spreadsheet that had some macros and got did some stuff in there and didn't ever think anything of it until it was like 5 years later. So this would have been 2 years ago now. I got a couple of calls out of the blue from past advisor friends saying, "Hey, do you still have that spreadsheet we've used? Like, we
Oh,
tried the Income Lab, Right Capitals, like what you would consider much better platforms,
right.
but they just didn't like them."
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, I got the spreadsheet," and I ended up I'm not a great business person. I was going to give it to them, and then they asked to pay me for it, and they paid a pretty good amount. And so, um, then I was still just kind of an idiot, like, oh, that was cool. Like, I'm gonna go about my day. And then a friend of mine was like, hey man, you should think about, possibly developing that. And so some other stuff happened, but I ended up going forward with developing that tool into it's called Income Mapper. It's actually a product right now that's
Okay.
available. I don't talk about it as much. And in that experience of seeing how to develop, I work with an awesome developer. It was super cool. I, I ended up kind of doing a similar thing with my new RIA Adaroke. When I was working with younger clients, it was a similar thing. I was like frustrated with the tools that were available, built something for myself, worked with the same developer to develop that into a software. Didn't think anybody else in the world would want it until XYPN Live a year ago. Some other people, hey, this is really neat. Could you do this? And so
Okay.
um, that was kind of how I was like, I kept getting pulled a little bit more and more into it, and then um, I ended up partnering with a person to bring that to fruition. He decided he wanted to do something else earlier this year, which is fine, and didn't want to let that dream go. And so got back with the developer I built the first two tools with, and we're doing Kerdora now. So um, yeah.
What advice do you have? A lot of people in the advisor tech space listen to
Hmm.
this, I'm sure. What advice do you have for like finding and selecting good developers? Because what I've heard is like truly
Mm.
amazing engineers are like a million plus a year, or they want like 3 to 5% equity. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true or not, but like the
Well, I think a
truly,
good developer is worth more than 3 to 5%. First of all,
yeah,
uh, um, I think I got incredibly lucky. Now that knowing what I know now, um, I originally found him online, and I guess I don't know. Apparently, my experience was not the norm, but I just feel incredibly grateful. I have not because I've heard a lot of the horror stories of how do you find a reliable developer. I got lucky, one of one. So there are some great platforms out there. I think this vibe coding world is a little bit dangerous. I'm curious to see how that all plays out because I've got some. I don't know. People, I think the role of a good developer is being diminished incorrectly right now. People think, oh, I don't need them. I can just go use Lovable or Vercel or whatever. But there's such a difference between building something functional on there and like turning into like commercial grade software. So
yeah. No, I think it's true of AI in every
yeah,
application.
yeah,
Um, I
yeah,
think like people are saying AI should write all your marketing content and your emails and
yeah.
everything, and it's like no, like humans should pick the words, not robots. Like,
Yeah, I don't love outsourced thinking for AI.
yeah,
Like some of this like document extraction, like we'll probably talk about that. That's great. Like some of that like just like there's
right,
not a lot that's just this that fine. But I mean I have serious concerns about what AI is doing to advisors. People are
yeah,
thinking they shouldn't have to think anymore. Like
right,
and I just say like what are you going to do? Like you're literally asking AI to replace you. Like do you want to
right.
like build your plan, send the plan, respond to the emails, do everything? What are you doing? you know? So, yeah.
No, I mean, I did the Substack about like your most valuable real estate is the 6 inches in between your brain, and
No.
it's like if you truly want to be successful, like work on your mindset, work on your self
Totally.
improvement, work on your
Well,
relationships,
you
not
know, humans
outsource everything.
we don't want to spend energy, and it is a lure. It is that siren song of AI. It can make it. Oh, I don't have to think. I don't have to do anything. I can just do it
Right.
all. But like the quality is so obvious. I not to derail us, but didn't you just post about like you're taking a break from AI? Like you canceled
Yeah,
your
I
subscriptions, or
canceled ChatGPT. Well, just
yeah.
because like I'm very publicly coming out and saying I'm anti AI, which
Hmm.
like AI is going to be in everything, and it's probably going to be
Hmm.
in like every single advisor tech tool that I recommend. So I'm not saying I'm like anti AI. I'm anti AI in the ways that people are trying to use it to like replace human creativity.
So if you go to our website right now, Kerdora, it says build better plans in less time, parentheses, not because AI did your job for you.
Right.
That's
Yeah, that's
super
awesome.
intentional.
I love
Like
that.
my developer and I are both like, we use AI. There's AI on our platform. And it's actually it could be funny when we look at this. Like um the extraction's the same capabilities as what Income Lab just did.
Okay.
We talk about AI. There's no little magic sprinkle button. It doesn't say AI plan, but it's like AI is just like it's like saying you're cloud based. Like it's
Right.
in there. Like I don't know. I just so we're kind of like taking a little bit like the stance of yours, like, hey, it's just what it is. You're still the star. Like I don't know. We're just not wanting to. Just, I don't know. I think we're all getting used to it, and like our expectations are more in line of what AI can be as well. I think we got a little ahead of ourselves earlier in the year.
Yeah, and I have to be super careful in the way that I say things. Like, um, yesterday I got in some hot water with some people, some
I saw
high ups
that.
in
I
the
saw that.
industry, and I don't want to be like that. Like, I want to
Yeah.
always be kind and I want to be professional. But I think when I see someone I truly respect using Sora to put out a video, it's like, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah.
But then later I realized it was a joke. So anyway,
Yeah.
um, why did you pick this category specifically? Like, I think
Uh,
you're in the financial planning ish category.
mhm. Yeah. 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 Because I had a financial planning problem myself. It was
Yeah,
100% just solved the problem for myself and found out other people had the same one. Um, I've used every all the tech tools, eMoney, Right Capital, Money Guide Pro, unbelievable tools. They're great calculators. I would put a client in there and go, what do I do with this? Like, it's a projection. Like, I'm working with younger people. You're going to be a billionaire or broke. Like, I just like I don't know what this means. And so yeah, it started with building a solution for myself, what I consider more like real financial planning. And there's some benefits to software, but it's way easier to scale, version control, things like that. And then just found out other people had a similar problem. And so um, it's really just that classic solve the problem for myself is the reason. There was no like, let's go build a financial planning platform because there's plenty of those out there. So it's
are
like that
you
thing.
actively using it with your
Yeah.
own clients? Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
getting good feedback from your clients about it.
Yeah. They, my clients built the thing.
Oh,
Like the story of
perfect.
how I got like that's like the story on my website is like I was spending all this money on tech using all these tools. I never showed it with clients. They didn't care. So finally I asked them, I said, what do you guys actually want from me? Like
Right,
truly, like what are you paying me for? And they said with unbelievable consistency, we want to understand our financial life and know what to do next.
right,
And that was so like, oh, and then, but like, what does that actually mean? I said, if you can understand your financial life, you can answer certain questions. So I have these, like the plan output is laid out in question form because it's exactly what clients ask. And
right.
then tell me what to do next. There's some action items and we'll identify those. And so I say, yeah, like the clients built the plan output. And even like when we're making product decisions, I've had some fun back and forths on our candy board where, I say with love, if I ask an advisor what you want, it's going to be colors, dashboards, and metrics. I just love that. Clients
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
And so somebody asks, like, can you add these color code? And then I go back to a client. I'll say, like, what do you guys think? And it'll be like, no. And so the way we're thinking about this is like the plan output, we want the client to drive. But how you build the plan, that's how we want that to be driven by the advisor and how you want to build it. Because like too often, I think our plan outputs are driven by what the advisor wants to see, and that's why you get these dashboards and things that just clients like I don't care what that is,
That
what that
clients don't
says.
use. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love the platforms that are developed almost client facing first, like the Monarch Monies
yeah,
and the
yeah,
Bolden Retirement Planning and Projection Lab, and like um they actually go like consumer first, and then they
yeah.
add an advisor element later on. And then it's
That
like,
is
well,
great.
now we know we've built a product that already has product market fit for the end client.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah, and
cool
it's
way.
a tricky balance. Like, but our consumer is still the advisor, so
Right,
like
sure. You're
they
still
need to
selling
have
to
that
the
they
advisor.
need to have that experience of delivering that plan in front of a client and having like the client love it for them to love it. So like
Right.
we have a now I'll just call it we call it like advisor porn, like to put it like in the colors and dashboards and metrics. Like we'll
Sure.
eventually do that because we know advisors like it. Um, yeah, it's been interesting of like your client will want this, but you want that. So which do we build first? And
Sure.
I don't know if we're getting it right or not, but we'll see.
As long as you're open and telling your story about why
Yeah,
you're making that choice.
yeah.
Cool.
Totally.
Are you ready to do a demo?
No, we can sure. Um, all right, so
Sorry, my transitions today are super like rough, but we're saying the right stuff, I think.
we're good, man. All right, so I think I got the screen share right. We're in here. You can see
Yep, I can
Kerdora.
see it.
Um, all right, cool. So this is inside of a client file. Um, the main kind of the sidebar. You've got your overview profile where we input information, planning where we do the planning, and then we can talk about document extraction. But I think people should look at the overview first because that's the plan output. If you don't like the plan output, then you shouldn't care about the rest of it. But um, in this, these two go hand in hand. The changes to be made. To me, this is like actually a financial plan. Like this is the plan. Like this is what you actually have to do. If you need context or want to know where we came up with the numbers, you can go over here. And so they keep in mind that like the whole point of this is to help clients understand their financial life and know what to do next. And so um, the for understanding, if you've seen, Carl Richards' one-page plan, the first part of this is completely inspired by that, we'll call it. So clients like to know their net worth, financial objective, what's your why are you here, goals. I like to think of goals as like, what does my life need to look like to be able to pursue that objective? But it's however you want. What would you like to talk about here? Like more of like the planning methodology or features themselves? Because there's a lot we could do.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about just like I've heard it called financial action checklist, or like um just it's not super fancy, but it's literally like, is there a checklist that I can access and my clients can access to see what needs to be done? And it's such a simple concept, but
Yeah.
it gets so little of the attention. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, no, a quick run through the features would be great. Then we can go into integrations and how those work, and we can go
Sure.
into the roadmap and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll keep it focused on the planning piece because I don't know. There's not as many of your fancier features. So we're orienting up here, and then we're answering these questions. Where's my income going? We're disaggregating somebody's income into these elements. If you've seen elements directly borrowed from them with their permission, we do have a tax calculator to calculate a client's tax situation. Um, Pulled out some observations for people. Then we got goals planning. This is really the meat of the platform where you can, I think that's like something I heard from a lot of people of like, when you build a plan in some of the bigger three, they just kind of all gets dumped in there in one. It's like all part of like maybe like how much money you're going to end up with when you die or something like that. Here, we're actually looking at individual goals. How much do you need to have saved? How much you need to be saving, and assigning accounts to that. This line here is essentially, I call it a purpose-driven balance sheet. So it's not just like what cash and investments do you have, but like what is your money actually going towards?
Okay.
And so, then investments, this is like an investment policy statement summary. So what's your like the high level for a client to come in and go, what do I have? How much is in there? What's it for? What's my time horizon? The time horizon is really, really important. Then we'll look at investment allocation. You can pop into here and you can see their different accounts, what the holdings are in the individual accounts. Focusing on expense ratio is really helpful because a lot of clients, their portfolios have high expense ratios that they don't know about. Um, and then some of the nerdier metrics, the deeper you go. So this is nice to be able to evaluate a client. You can filter these. If we said I only want to look at 529 plan, what does that look like? So you can analyze a client's portfolio.
So
um,
like from like the journey of a prospect to a client,
mhm.
are you using this more in the prospecting stage to like win the client with some of like the investment analysis features, or is it something that you're using with clients like after they've become a client?
It's both. Yeah, it actually genuinely is both.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal. It can be a prospecting tool, kind of a first pass. Like, let's do a quick analysis of your situation because it takes almost no time at all. You can upload some documents and have a plan in a couple of minutes, and that can because I run into this issue a lot with like prospects. They're not sure what they need, and so it's like, well, let's take a look. So you can do that and then go do your normal planning process. Um, this is full planning to me. Like we're looking at everything in your financial life. We're looking at investments, cash flow, savings, insurance, estate planning. So like this is an end-to-end planning. Occasionally I'll use another tool for some more detail if I need to. But you can use this. It can be that prospecting tool or full end-to-end planning.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's like, well, what do I
Mhm.
need? I need like 10 grand a month in basic income, and then I need like 20 to 40 a month to play with, you know?
Yeah, I'm curious. Like you didn't say it directly, but like people sometimes will call this like planning light,
Yeah.
right? How do you define planning light?
Planning light is what clients actually need and want versus financial planning is just for the advisors. Um, was it? It's a super interesting conversation because you mentioned like
Yeah,
e-money, right capital.
yeah,
Right capital is super popular in the
yeah.
younger
It's great.
crowd of
It's a great tool.
advisors. Um,
Hmm.
so that's why I'm interested. Is this a replacement for right capital, or if it sits on top of right capital, why is right capital still necessary? I guess.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Well, I can answer that directly. I think first of all, like not to distract us, but I know you're more of a tech stack minimalist, right? You like when you have a smaller tech stack. I
Yeah.
don't think it's a problem to have multiple tools. It depends, but like right now with our current feature set, we're definitely more of a complement to Right Capital. I think very soon we could be considered a full substitute for them. Um, but I think somebody shouldn't limit themselves. Like, I mean, we have a retirement income planning tool and I still use Income Lab.
Hmm.
Uh, why not? Like, I can do 80% of the planning here. I can do 100% of the planning for 80% of my clients. Occasionally, I need to jump into something else. Okay. That's okay. So,
I think it's the scale question. Like,
yeah.
if you compare Root Financial's tech stack, they're just
Hmm.
scaling absurdly fast to
Hmm.
the Archer investment tech stack, the one I posted about it a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like they have all the tools. Like it's literally like they bought my book and then bought a tool in every
Yeah.
single category,
Yeah.
which I think is okay. If you want to if you love playing with software and you want to like
Yeah.
go really deep in every single planning category for a client, like I think that's
Yeah.
okay. I think if you want to help a lot of people and you want to systematize it, almost like
Yeah.
Appleify it or Amazonify it,
Mhm.
like then using fewer simple tools is the way. And I really think it just comes down to preference, I guess.
Well, yeah, and that's a whole separate thing of like a lot of advisors aren't trying to grow the most efficient, biggest business that they can. Like
Right.
they're so I mean, yeah, there's pros and cons to that. I saw that comment about Emily's thing, and one side of me was like, or the Archer tech stack was like, that's great. You know, you're working with you have a college planning client, pay for a college planning tool. You know, if it costs you
Right.
$100 and you make 500, why not? But yeah, it's not going to scale, and it's not to like a root level. But yeah, like trade offs to all of that. I think it's interesting. We might talk about this like with it would be curious to see how integrations play out with now how easy it is to just ingest data into different platforms. It might be even easier to use multiple systems to where it's really not a big deal to have them. Um, but yeah, maybe we'll talk about the competitive landscape some more. Should we finish up
Yeah, for
the,
sure.
the
No,
plan
just
here?
one
Yeah,
comment about
yeah,
integration.
yeah,
So like I've heard e-money and right capital are super painful to integrate with.
yeah.
Both
It's
through
closed door.
expense and like the APIs just aren't very good.
Yeah.
So how much data can like freely flow between a tool that maybe sits on top of one of those platforms and the underlying data?
Yeah, so the integration game, it's a game. You know, it's got to be mutually beneficial for people. You think
Sure.
about it, you know, firms. So if a platform at our scale isn't going to get into right capital anytime soon,
Right.
that's just a closed door. Um, and then it would be like Wealthbox. This Max over at Slant talked about this. Like, it's very easy to integrate with Wealthbox, but it's not a
Right.
deep or meaningful integration at all. It's like, yeah, I can sync a contact and a birth date. Um,
Right.
so like not directly answering your question, but like the integrations we are targeting are the CRM and the custodian because I think like the three core pieces of a tech stack are CRM, custodian, and planning. Um, and I'm excited to see what changes on that end. Um, love the guys at Slant. I've actually started using it myself, and we've been in talks. We're going to see how their API works out, and we'll see how that can actually work. Um, so I don't know if that answered your question or not. It's interesting how like the platforms you start out very open, like let's integrate with everybody, and then there must be something that you're like you start putting the walls up to I don't know protect the business or whatnot. But um, and I've heard it on your other guests on here talking about the challenges of getting into those platforms.
Yeah,
So,
no, the second episode with Thomas from Slant and
mhm.
Dustin and James Cantwell, we talked about
Mhm.
like the three monitor setup, and it was like
Yeah.
custodian, CRM, and communication tool. But
Hmm.
we didn't really planning obviously is a super important tool as well. So the
Hmm.
question is, maybe planning cycles through on that middle screen
Well,
with the
and to that point, if planning more than anything is the financial data, like because the custodian's part of the financial data, and like
right,
if this data could just get into Slant, great. Then you just need the three you just talked about.
right.
But nobody's doing that yet. I'm sure there's some security stuff, but I would love to solve that. And I also tell like with all these tools where like you can chat your book type of thing, you can chat your client file. A massive missing piece is the financial planning information. So
Yeah, for sure. No,
come
and
on, let's
that's
solve
what I've
this.
been writing about. So like
Yeah,
The CRM was the first thing. Then AI note takers came, and I was like, AI note takers belong in the CRM. That's like a no brainer.
100%.
And
Yeah.
then the third thing is financial planning data. Like I'd love to see at some point
Yeah.
like the planning data, the CRM, and the AI features like all just tightly integrated.
Yeah. Well, I'll show you how we can use like a transcript from a note taker to populate a plan. That's a
Sure.
great start, but that's one way
Yeah.
right now. Yeah, I don't know. It's not like it was an old, like I say an old, he's like a 6-year-old engineer. He's like ones and zero problems are never the problem. They can always be done. It's the humans that get in the way with their reasons for why something can't be done. Right. So
Yeah.
I'm sure it will happen. I would love to help push it forward, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry for
but
all the interruptions. We can.
No, this is good. This is good. Just the last two pieces of the puzzle here. So we've looked at cash flow, goals, investing, is insurance. So even like this question, like this is, I mean, probably not exactly how a client would ask it, but they want to know like, how am I protected? And so we're looking at different insurances. So all of these have modules inside of them. Looking at life, disability, homeowners. You can disable ones that aren't relevant to a client. Got some calculators for each type. Um, so you can assess their insurance planning. And then our estate planning right now is really more of a document completeness checklist, but you can just say like, okay, what documents are drafted and what's the status of them? So what do you need to do? Um, and then, so that's like the plan output. Um, as far as populating them, I tell people basically start from the profile tab, go left to right, then go through the planning module left to right. Um, and I wanted to just highlight how that changes to be made is kind of ever present, omnipresent in the platform. It's always floating around here so that if you're looking in here and say like, oh, this person has too much cash here, they need to shift it, you can add a change, say, shift cash to brokerage or whatever. So that you can populate the plan. It will kind of pre-populate and then you just kind of review it and you can note the changes that you need to be made. And then in a matter of minutes, you've got this completed output and print it to PDF if you want. And send it on to your client. A few other things, just from an advisor perspective, we do have a notepad in here that you can just take notes as you're working.
Okay.
Doesn't sync with the CRM yet, but it'd be great if it did. But it just at the very, it's like this
Yeah.
is an example of like something that's like comes from experience. Like, yeah, I've got an iPad up here and I've got another Google Doc, but just take the note in here, test. Great. You can also add tasks throughout. Um, can add tasks up here as well. Um, Again, doesn't sync with a CRM maybe someday, but at least you can like this is why like this is almost everything I use with a client because I've got it all in here. I've got my notes, I've got my task, I know the changes that need to be made, I've got their financial information, um, and
And
just a few other little
the deliverable is like a PDF that you attach to an email, or is there like a portal aspect to it? I'm not saying there
portal.
should be.
No. Yeah, the portal. Yeah, this is what we're working on, finishing up extraction, then the portal for the client
Nice.
to be able to have access to this. So, yep. And so that they could log in and they would be able to view. It would be essentially this. They don't need to see all the planning modules, but basically their plan output, the tasks that are assigned to them, uh, their account information, so they can make updates themselves. That's a lifesaver as an advisor if clients keep their data up to date, and then documents. So yeah, it's definitely
It's
something coming.
fascinating to see the same solutions coming to market that
Mm,
are coming under different categories. Meaning, like this almost seems super comparable to Asset Map, but like Asset Map has come from an entirely different direction
mm,
with like
mhm,
the visual layout being like the number
mm.
one thing. Or like
Yeah,
FlexTract is coming at it from the data gathering perspective, but in a way, uh, you're both building like financial planning light tools, and the data gathering is like a piece of the process.
totally. Yeah, there's a lot of overlap there. And I
But Yeah, sometimes data gathering is like part of the prospecting process, and the tool comes out saying it's like a prospecting tool. So it's like it's almost like we're solving the same problems under different categories, and it just happens to be whatever category resonates with the advisor.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be sensitive on I wanna say some stuff, but I wanna be sensitive because I like those guys, but,
No, for sure.
I
Um,
think there's a proper place for certain tools, and I think it's okay to have, like yeah, the data gathering, we're definitely trying to solve that, and I could you want to show you really quick, like, an example of that, of how we
yeah,
can do that? So
and
documents are
it's your
here.
podcast.
Go
You can
ahead.
talk about what you want to talk about.
No, 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 no. Well, I because that's a key piece because that's one of the biggest frustrations is, like, how do I get the data in here? And
Right.
so, well, part of the client portal will have an onboarding form you can actually send to people. But right now, you can, if you're going to add a client, you can create them from documents directly. So I'm going to just upload a chat transcript from Slant, actually. Um,
Okay.
Here's my meeting notes. This will take like a minute. So we're going to talk through it and you can see our internal cost for how much this is costing us to do. But and I'm sure my dev is watching, going, "Oh crap, I forgot to hide that." But it's all good. So this will take like a minute or so. But um, the idea would be like, yeah, you can capture like this should be where the client and the advisor interact. Their planning software. This is where they link their accounts, their documents, and everything like that. So make it easy for the documents to come in, update and create the plan. Um,
Do you
and then
have
for the
account?
advisor,
Do you have account aggregation on the roadmap?
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah. Um, you can see it thinking through. We haven't fully released this yet. We're in our dev version, but you'll see just right now it's pulling out. So we have Bob, 2 kids, um, some incomes. You can check. There's their information. So um, should
What
be about done.
what types of documents is it able to process?
Pretty much anything.
Okay.
Screenshots. Really
Yeah.
excited about that.
Cool.
Um, I don't know how to demo it because all of my Monarch Money accounts are actual clients. But you could
Sure.
take a screenshot of Monarch. Actually, I'll do it. I've got a dummy case from inside of Right Capital. So I'm
Okay.
going to screenshot this. I'll copy it, come over here, and why not? We'll just do another fresh one. Actually, let's go inside of this one here, and we'll just paste it in. So it's going to extract that as well. But I'll go back to that transcript. So, okay. So, oops, sorry, scrolled back. So it pulled all this out. You can review it. You can change some stuff, but we'll just finish it. And so all from just that transcript, we pulled the household members. The balance sheet tab is now populated. Um, this mortgage is tied to the primary residence. Pulled out your income sources, pulled out their cash flows, their debt. We don't have a field for spending, so you could type that in. Pulls out their
Sure.
insurance. I mean, it's a great time to be an advisor with that. That's all
Yeah.
just that was literally a live use case. That was I had a prospect meeting, recorded it in Slant, copy paste the transcript.
Yeah. That's pretty incredible.
And that plan is I would it would take me about 3 more minutes to have a completed version of this.
Yeah.
So
What
uh,
I know some people have talked about like the paraplanner role like completely going away. I think
where's
the part of the
pull that up again.
conversation that is interesting is like what about the 100,000 shortage of advisors that like that one research report was about. Like
Yeah.
if AI note takers are doing all the notes and the action items, if paraplanners aren't needed anymore because AI can do that, like how are the next generation of financial advisors going to learn how to, sit in a meeting with clients, take
Hmm.
notes, create a financial plan? Um, it's almost like firms are shooting themselves in the foot by using AI note takers when they
Hmm.
could be training someone.
Yeah. Well, what is a paraplanner? Like, I think that's such a loose like paraplanner, junior planner. Is that are you kind of thinking of them in similar ways,
It's a
or
data entry person.
yeah, I mean, I that's a great question. I mean, I learned by fire. I sat in. Well, no, I sat in and watched. I'm the first time I really thought about that. Of like would somebody have just used AI instead of what I did? Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's like, I think kind of scares me. Probably would have to learn from some of the bigger firms that have the budget to pay for a non-revenue producing advisor, which maybe isn't the greatest. But then again, like there's all sorts of. I started through XYPN my RIA, and like there's plenty of people that don't know anything about planning who start and just figure it out. And so there might be
Yeah.
more of that. Um,
But
I
like
think it's
if you
interesting.
talk to some of the, you know, RAs that are getting into the low billions, like I talked to one that
Hmm.
just crossed a billion and they're like, we're doubling our
Hmm.
head count immediately.
Hmm.
And talk to Root and it's like Root is hiring rapidly.
Yeah.
And so it's like the firms that are actually like scaling insanely quickly, I feel like they are using humans and training
Yeah.
humans
Totally.
and like hugely relying on that versus, going all in on AI.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you got to put like let AI do what AI does.
Right.
Don't like. I was listening to a podcast this morning, the Knowledge Project. They had Rory Sutherland on there. He's like, I guess, a marketing person, but he was like hammering, and he works with a lot of bigger firms. Like, he's like, your call center should be consist of six-figure earners. And like that's the differentiator. He goes, you might interact with that call center 5% of the time, but it makes up 90% of your perception of them. So like actual like human experience, he said like you should have two pathways for somebody who needs help. A super streamlined automated one for the person who knows what they need, and a super empathetic high touch one for the person who doesn't. And so I think for those firms who are hiring up, they can just differentiate on an insane client experience. They should still have the chatbot that can answer the question when you know exactly what you need. But if somebody
Yeah.
calls to actually have a conversation with somebody, that'd be amazing. And like AI is super powerful, but human plus AI who knows what they're doing is extra powerful. So like there's I mean, um, I think that I support them for scaling up and still hiring. I think that's great. I think it's actually like one of the like things holding people back right now in the current advisor fintech space is people feel like they shouldn't hire because they should be AI in the crap out of everything. And
Right.
like nobody has it yet. AI is just not there yet to fully do all this. And like love Jason Wank, but like the whole 5 person billion dollar RAA, like that's
One
putting a
person,
lot
one
of head.
person.
One person billion. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's putting a lot of head trash on people. Like, well, what's wrong with me? Why am I
Right.
not able to do that? It's like you
Yeah.
can absolutely do that, but that's sending the wrong message to a lot of people who then just feel inadequate and they really just need a paraplaner for 60 grand a year or a virtual assistant. But oh no, I should have AI doing that, and it just
Right.
keeps them from going to that next step. And so it's an interesting dynamic there.
I think that's why I'm overcompensating on my anti-AI content is not that I'm so against AI, is that
Hmm.
people are just getting lambasted with like AI messaging right now. And huge tech companies are firing swaths of employees and saying we're
Hmm.
replacing them with AI. But I think the reality is there's and Michael Burry is coming out now and saying AI is a bubble. Like,
Hmm.
um, a couple years down the road, like how I honestly think there's going to be like a resurgence toward no, actually we need humans because this AI is just not really working.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's a similar side. It's like the internet. Like a year ago, we just way overshot what we thought it was possible. I think people are starting to over discount it. I did. I
okay,
went. I tried it a bunch. I was like, it sucks. And just recently got back into it. Was like, okay, it is actually freaking amazing. But my
yeah.
my expectations were back down here. But yeah, we'll still find a place for humans. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely AI fatigue, especially in the LinkedIn space.
So what's your vision for Kerdora? I mean, how do you plan to yeah, I guess to focus on what it's good at or what category it's in or like the
Mhm.
roadmap and the integrations.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so our roadmap for at least the near term is very, very clear. There's a lot of other things we need. I mean, aside from like a client portal, account aggregation, being able to do spending tracking. So
Yeah,
like I love Monarch Money to death, not at all trying to replace that. Definitely not a budgeting tool, but like good level of, I mean, spending data is a massive missing piece. There's so much gold in there. And
right.
so being able to evaluate people's spending, some other kind of like making it more one-stop solution of like risk tolerance questionnaire, investment policy statements, things of that nature, really just continue to like solve real problems for advisors. Using myself and right now the advisors providing feedback for like what are the real problems we want to solve. try to be on time with AI, not early. Like once like this that document extraction you saw wasn't possible 6 months ago. Now it is.
Right.
Like
Yep.
really just like on time. But as far as like the long term vision, I haven't really said this too out loud, but like my true motivating factor in like my purpose in life is helping people make better financial decisions. Like I actually genuinely mean that. And that's why I started Adderok. I did not profit maximize the structure. There's a lot of different ways I can make a lot more money, but was be able to help people one to one. Maybe I can work with like 50 people, maybe 100 with that. I see the software as a way to scale that up. So I've had this like internal goal. I would love to see like 1 million plans created on Kerdora
Yeah.
for actual households. And if that happens, the financial part will take care of itself as well and see where it goes from there. So um, I can be more specific about roadmap stuff if that would help, but that's like the way I'm thinking of this. And really, like I say a lot of times, like we're trying to build solutions for our friends, just try to like
Yeah.
be a voice for them. Cause I mean, I think it's an advantage. We're not VC funded. We don't have any of that trash pressure to scale or pivot if it's not working. We can just build real stuff the way we think is best. We got a good combo of like tech, good tech, but real application, and continue to try to straddle that line and see where it goes.
Yeah. No, the PE conversation is super interesting. Just the pressure to perform, and then you start maybe to lose the original goal, which was to help people.
I, I don't know what some of these firms are going to do with the money that's been raised.
Yeah.
Especially Wealthbox. I don't know what the hell they're going to do with that. That just still blows my mind. But yeah,
Oh,
so
I've got some ideas. I've been telling John on
well,
LinkedIn what he should be doing.
I mean, good for them, but yeah, I mean, I've experienced that world. Not interested in it. Don't think it's necessary. I think yeah, there's pros and cons to it. Obviously, it works. It can make a bunch of money, but I like where we're at and the way we're doing it, and we'll see.
Yeah. Do you have any customer success stories, like early adopters of Kerdora that
Yeah,
are?
yeah, it's been really cool, and I won't name names because I don't have the permission, but just part of this role. So like that plan output is really scary for some advisors. Like, where's the projection?
Yeah.
What do I show somebody? And getting like a lot of what I have to do is train people like, no, trust me, your client actually likes this. Like my onboarding call, I build a real plan for a client and say, like, go take this to somebody and get their feedback. If it's not a fit, then you can throw Kerdora away. But like have that experience. And what it's done for people is it's opened up like a new business line in a lot of ways. Because you can do one-time plans. I stumbled into this accidentally. I was onboarding a prospect to kind of like evaluate whether we should do an ongoing planning relationship or not. And they said, can I just pay you like $2,500 for that? And then I said, yeah. And I was like, holy crap, that was one meeting. And so just showing people like there is a way to work with people in a very short term with a very high value, and it's win-win situation. So, been able to like, I mean, it's still really early. I've seen that fully come to fruition with 3 different people, and it's just been so cool. And so that's been the coolest thing is just watching that light bulb come on of like, oh wait, I know what planning is to me now, and I can deliver this in a lot quicker way. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about this on the second episode, but it's like the projection, which is like the graph going up until they
Mhm.
retire, and then like the money goes down. It's like, who is that inspiring for people? Like,
I and I have to be sensitive to this. So I've at least 1,000 in my career. I've also recreated some of these calculators. So like I think like and that's not to say I know everything, but like you do it enough times, you don't need a projection. Like you
right?
know based on the numbers, and it's like if you save more, you're going to have more money.
Yeah,
If you retire earlier, you won't. And it's like, yeah, I don't need a projection for that. But I will be fair and say early on, I certainly did because I have been told by people, younger and newer advisors, like I need that projection to check myself, and
sure.
I think that's really really interesting. And I try to respect. Okay, that makes sense. And so we'll definitely have like some type of projection in there. It just won't be the centerpiece of it. Yeah.
And also, like you tweak some tiny things, and the end result can vary wide.
I mean, 0.5% of an assumption on anything,
Right,
and or forget a cash flow, or it starts or stops at the end. Like you can't see all the inputs of what's going on in there. Like a result. I mean, I was working an income lab the other day, and I added an income source, and the lifetime spending thing went down. I was like, "What the hell just happened?" So, anyways,
right.
yeah, it's it's a challenge. But
It'd be cool to see almost like a half life on each feature of the Kerdora plan. Like,
mm.
yeah, I think Carl Richards says this in his book, but like as soon as a financial plan is delivered, it's like become obsolete or something.
Yeah, my big planning thing is like the 6 variables you can actually control. What can you actually control? And
Right.
try to identify the action items around that. So it's like how much you're saving, how much liquidity you have, what insurance protection you have, what you're investing in, what estate planning decisions you've made, and to a certain point, taxes. Control what you can around that. Projection doesn't freaking matter. If returns are good, you'll have more money. We don't need that. So it's like control what you can and try to make it very easy to identify what you can control and what you should be doing to give yourself the best chance. It's really, to me, financial planning and what this whole framework is trying to be.
Yeah. Do you mind quickly going over pricing, and then we
Yeah, right
can
now it's
wrap it
yeah,
up?
right now 120 a month. 1,200 a year for an annual subscription. So you can build 3 clients for free. My thing was I got tired of 2 week trials and then year long commitments. So build 3 clients. If you see the values there, no refunds. Pay month to month. If you want a discount, you can pay for the year. That
That's awesome.
probably will change when some of the account aggregation comes in because there's just going to be some more variable costs on our end. But that's where it's at right now. Try to keep it as simple. Try to make pricing just not a issue at this point.
And that's a price per user or per advisor,
Yeah,
basically?
pretty much. Yep. Yep.
Sweet. Cool. Any other closing thoughts you wanna share?
No, man.
Hot takes, spicy takes?
Oh, I got more. I could tell you how you build. Anyways, yeah, yeah. No. This has been awesome, man. I really appreciate it. And it's fun to hear the guests you have come on here and just kind of talk about our space and where it's going, and some people hopefully helping to shape it for the better.
Yeah, no, it really is a truly exciting time for AdvisorTech. I
Yeah.
think it also is a super overwhelming time. So I think that
Okay, that's I don't want to. I'm not going to go too far on this, but like I
yeah,
think that's the issue. I tell people all the time when I see posts about like kind of crapping on the kids' tech map, like oh this is a problem. I'm like
yeah,
no, it's only a problem if you're not clear on what you do. And I think a lot
right,
of advisors aren't clear on what they do for people, so they look at the tech map like, do I need a prospecting tool? I don't know. Like if you're clear on what you do, you can eliminate 90% of it, and then you have choice and that's great. And so,
yeah.
but it is super overwhelming because you see all that, you see the pressure of the one person $1 billion RIA and all this stuff, and like it's you just got this anxiety FOMO thing going on. So yeah.
No, I mean, advisors reach out to me and they're like, "Hey, can you consult on our tech stack?" And they'll send me their list, and I'll be like, "Yeah, cancel half of it, and I'll help you." And they're like, "No, no, no, we
Yeah.
don't want to cancel it. We want to like connect it all using Zapier." And
Yeah.
I'm like, "I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
you. Sorry."
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but then that's why, like, I'm trying to figure out how can I best help advisors. Is it advisor tech advice, or is it really starting with like mindset? Like, what are you
I
actually trying to
think the
accomplish?
number one thing, get clear on what you actually do for your clients. That was the
Right.
unlock for me. When I was clear on that, I eliminated all the stuff I didn't need. And then I will tell you that I think this is a valuable observation of having done, I don't know, 200 demos this year with different advisors. The ones who are willing to still type some stuff into software are killing it. The ones who think everything should integrate, I should never double data entry anything, are going to get run over because it's just not
Yep.
there yet. And so
Yep.
you've got to still be willing to just spend a minute typing it in. If you can just release the pressure that it's not going to be this streamlined, everything connects and talks to each other, and I never have to do anything, then you can build a tech stack that really works. You might have to type a little bit.
This might be a great question to finish on, but what is it that clients actually want?
My clients have told me they want to understand their financial life and know what to do next.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I talk about on my RA, my website says financial advice that helps you make the most of your money. And make the most of your money really at the end of the day means no longer wonder if you could or should be doing something better. And
Right.
that has connected super well with people. And there's a lot to what all that means, but they don't need to be impressed by your analysis. They don't need you to predict the future. They just want you to understand them, help them understand their financial life, and tell them what to do next.
So it was interesting. I was getting my haircut a few days ago, and the guy was talking about like the presents he was buying his wife for Christmas, and he's
Mm.
like, "Christmas is a time to be stupid, right?" And I thought it's like it is very tempting to spend a lot more than you should this time of year. So like practically, how could Kerdora help financial advisors guide their clients through the holiday season?
Mm. I don't know. I haven't thought about it to that level. other
Okay.
than showing them how much they need to spend and how there is or isn't a surplus
Yeah.
to be able to do that. That'd be helpful when there's some spending tracking in there. But yeah, that whole like that's just a social pressure that you think you're supposed to do things, and that I can't stand that personally, but it's very real.
How does one resist the social pressure?
Oh, I think you've got to get clear on what your purpose is in life,
Yeah.
and who you are, and what like I call it the deathbed question. Like, what do you want to be able to say you did with your life that would make you content enough to die? I mean, I could go way too deep on this, but like if you're clear on what you want, then all of a sudden you don't care as much about all this other stuff. And if you can have that true, if you like insecurity is the root of most of our problems. So if you can like be okay with who you are, why you're where you're at, fully accept that, then you don't need all the other stuff. You don't need to bend to like the rest of the world on that stuff.
Yeah. No, that's great. Clarity is key.
It's hard to come by, but if you can
Yeah.
find it, it's pretty magical.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. Well, I
Yeah,
appreciate you coming on the podcast today. I'm
yeah
excited to
man.
release this out in the wild, and I'm sure I'll see you around.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Good
All right.
talking.
Talk to you
Bye.
later. Bye bye.